Alright, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over trade rumors within the NBA and as the deadline sort of comes closer, we're going to be figuring out who's kind of going where and just discussing it a little bit. So I'm going to do this team by team, I think, and we'll start off with the Toronto Raptors. Right, so to kick off the Raptors trades, we know a lot of people here are very unhappy right now in Toronto, and the biggest asset I'd say they have right now is OG Anunoby. Now, the teams that I've got looking at him right now, we're going to start with the Knicks. I mean, if Toronto are looking to move OG to New York, they're going to want to get a bunch of young talent back. I mean, you'd need at least maybe Cam Reddish, Hartenstein, Toppin, maybe even throw Quickly in there. I know the Raptors are after picks with OG. I believe they have it set at three first rounds, I believe, is what they want for him. But I can't see this happening. I'll be honest. I can't see them trading OG, and I can't see to New York anyway, and I can't see the Knicks spending what the Raptors want them to spend. I know they have the young assets, but the picks as well on top of that. I don't think they'll be able to figure out a deal where everyone's happy, and I don't think the Raptors are willing to sell on OG quite cheaply, if that makes sense. But yeah, he'd fit great alongside Brunson and Randall, and Barrett too. I think he would fit nicely in New York. He wouldn't change their outcome much, I don't think. They still need a superstar, but he'd definitely be a nice piece to add for New York. The next team for OG would be the Grizzlies. I mean, again, I can't really see these guys having everything that Toronto want for them to kind of get this deal done. I just feel like they're pushing for it. Maybe the picks, but I just don't see what they can give them outside of the picks. And finally, the Pelicans. Dyson Daniels, the 8th overall pick. Pair that with Devontae Graham, and then maybe like a Trey Murphy or a Najee Marshall. Chuck in a pick or two. Well, you'll probably have to chuck in 2 picks if that's your thing, and that could get it done. Simply based on the fact you've got a young guy in Dyson Daniels, you've got Devontae Graham who you can move around for salary. He's still got kind of a little bit of potential. You got Najee Marshall or Trey Murphy or even Herb Jones, maybe. Good young players. Moving it on to Pascal Siakam, we know he wants to get out of Toronto right now. He's not exactly happy. He wants to be contending. He wants to be playing. The best trade I found for him online really was the Suns. It's Pascal Siakam and Kem Birch for DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, and 2 first-rounders. Now, we know Ayton doesn't want to be in Phoenix. We know Cam Johnson, how good of a player he is. This works out for both teams, to be honest, because DeAndre Ayton gets a fresh start. The Suns get another all-star level player. I mean, Siakam's going crazy this season. For sure. And 2 first-rounders, maybe you're going to have to tweak that a little bit. But I think this one makes the most sense for Pascal compared to some of the other ones I've seen. Because at least in the other ones that there are floating around, it's very clear that each side isn't getting value back. Whereas this Suns one seems pretty fair to me. Finally, for Fred VanVleet, I kind of found 2 trades. One to the Clippers, who I know are pursuing him heavily, and one to the Magic, which I just don't think he'll end up there. Yeah, so opening it up with the Clipper trade, Robert Covington, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, and a first rounder for Fred VanVleet and Juancho and Gomez. Now, do keep in mind, Fred VanVleet's trade value right now is at the ground. He's had a terrible year so far. We know the Clippers want him. We know Kawhi wants him. Kawhi and VanVleet have obviously played together before. So if he's moving, he's going to either Clippers or the Mavs. Now the Mavs, I just don't know how they'd get him. The trade I've managed to come up with on screen: Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, Dwight Powell, and a first rounder for him and Otto Porter. But I just don't think either of them agree to that. I think there's just not enough value being thrown around for each side to become better. Um, so yeah, I've got him going to the Clippers. With that trade, maybe not, maybe a couple of tweaks, but I can't see Freddie going anywhere else. Right, so the next team we're going to be discussing is the Hawks. And now we know the Hawks are kind of wanting to offload John Collins. I mean, they've been telling everyone for a while we don't want to just offload him, we don't want to. But it's come out literally 50 minutes ago that the Hawks are lowering their asking price for him. There's no mandate for first round picks, meaning he could end up on Dallas, which is kind of what I'm thinking. You get Tim Hardaway, maybe a Josh Green as well, in return for John Collins. I don't know how that would work with him and Chris Wood, but Dallas are always a potential landing spot for players like this. Another place he could land is the Blazers. We know Jeremy Grant has not yet signed an extension. He was offered 112 million, I believe. He's not yet signed it. Miles Turner and the Pacers are also another landing spot, but I don't know where where you'd get the value in that and who Indiana would give up for John Collins, and if he'd even make that big of a difference. I could see him maybe coming to New York on like a kind of like a robbery deal, if you would, but him and Julius again, I don't think the fit's there. I could see him on Phoenix maybe, but do Phoenix have anything that Atlanta want? I mean, are they willing to give up DeAndre Ayton? Will Atlanta accept DeAndre Ayton? We've already got Clint Capella over here, so I'm not too sure. But I think John Collins, if he does move, it'll be like a shock move. Like, no one saw it coming. Maybe potentially like a Western team like Phoenix or something like that. I can't see him going to a contender unless it's the Mavericks, if I'm honest. Or it's something completely crazy. But yeah, I don't really know where John Collins is gonna end up. Another big one for Atlanta is Bogdan Bogdanovic. We know that loads of people have been calling about him. 18 million, he's on a good salary. He's been great this season. He's a player every championship team needs. So I think he could end up somewhere like LA, whether that's Clippers or Lakers, whichever side. Grizzlies have also been targeting him, I believe. It's the same sort of teams that are all in contention, but I don't think they'll move him. I think he's fine here. He's probably not going to get moved, and if he does, he'll end up somewhere, again, like I said, LA or a contender probably. Maybe Portland or Denver, something like that, but I don't see the need for those guys to change up their roster, especially Denver. But yeah, Bogdanovic, I don't know where he's going to end up. It's looking like he might be sat dud, at least until the off-season. I don't know where else he could go right now. Let's have a look at some rumours. There's not much on teams interested apart from the fact that a lot of teams are interested. But yeah, I couldn't tell you where he'd end up. I know Phoenix still want him. I guess Phoenix have the assets to make a move for him. So we could see him on Phoenix. And if he does move, I think I'm going to pick Phoenix to be his destination. Now, moving on to the next team we have is the Chicago Bulls. We've heard Zach LaVine, he's not happy there at all right now. Obviously, Lonzo Ball, they're saying he can't figure out why he's in pain. We'll have to see how that continues. But right now, Zach LaVine, it's rumoured he wants out, with the Knicks, Lakers and Heat all interested. I think he ends up on the Heat if they make a move, because the Heat have been in conversations for so many players for so long. I feel like it's finally time they pull the trigger and make a move. I think we'd have to see Duncan Robinson moved in that deal. We'd have to see either Tyler Hero or Kyle Lowry gone, and I think it'd probably be Hero, simply because Lowry doesn't really hold much value for Chicago. On top of that, there'd have to be a few picks thrown in. I can see maybe 2 or 3 first rounders thrown in for this to work. I still don't even know if this will get the done deal. It depends how much Zach LaVine's sort of warranted. You may even have to throw in Victor Oladipo in there. You may not. On the financial side of things, you need to make the salaries balanced too. So I'm guessing you probably have to chuck in a salary filler there as well. I don't know who the Heat have for salary fillers. Or even if Zach can even end up there. I think the Knicks have the young assets like Quickly, like Toppin, all these guys, Cam Reddish, and they have the picks. But I don't know if Chicago's willing to pull the trigger, and I don't know if Zach wants to go there. And the Lakers, unless you're trading Russ, which I don't think they will at this point, he's an expiring contract. I don't think they're going to move him. And the way he's been playing this season, it seems to be going well for them. So, I don't know. I think Zach, if he leaves, he ends up on either the Heat or a super surprise team. Running over to the next ball, we've got Nikola Vucevic. Now, he's been targeted mainly by it's the same few teams this season that are really buying. The Suns, the Lakers, I'm seeing the Heat are interested. I'm also seeing a little bit of Spurs, but I don't know what they'd really do with him over there in San Antonio, because they're not really contending. They're more sort of rebuilding right now. But I can definitely see the Suns making a move. I mean, an Ayton for Vucevic trade would be great. I think both teams would be happy with that, as Ayton unhappy in Phoenix makes it easier for him to come over to the Bulls. He's still under contract, and he's younger too. The Lakers, I mean, I don't think they have the assets for it, honestly. Even with Westbrook, you'd have to pull up a bit more to get Ayton. Could be a look to move, though, because I do believe the Suns, it's come out today that Chris Paul, they're happy, not necessarily happy to move on from him, but happy to understand that this is his kind of his peak's done now. He's not that guy no more. But yeah, Vucevic, I don't know. I'd like to see him in Miami, if I'm honest. But I don't know how a Vuce and Bam backcourt would work. Also, I don't really know what you'd give up. Like, how they'd make the salaries work in Miami. Because Vucevic, out of everyone on this list, he's kind of the guy, I don't really know what his value is. Like, him and John Collins both have, very strange values at the moment. I mean, he was brought to Chicago for 2 first-rounders, a young player, and a salary filler in Otto Porter, Wendell Carter. But I don't know what they'd move him for, so we'll have to see where he ends up. Personally, I think he stays a Bull. I don't think any of the Bulls guys get moved before trade deadline. I think they're going to run it back, they're going to fix Lonzo. But right now, yeah, that's kind of where I'm standing with the Bulls guys and Vucevic. Now, moving it west, we've got the Nuggets, and their main thing right now that's in the news is that they're trying to move Bones Highland for a first rounder. I think this will happen. I think they'll do it. I just don't know who's going to get it. Right now, it's looking prominent for Oklahoma City to do it. I mean, they're collecting on talent. They've got a whole treasure chest full of first-round picks right now. So I think if it goes down, it will be OKC. Whether that's a unprotected Clippers pick or what, that they trade to Denver for Bones. Another player I'm seeing is the Nets. I mean, I know he'd work well on there coming off the bench. A good sort of guy, play defense, get things done pretty much. Whether they'd give up a first pick, I don't know. I don't think there's many people on that Nets team that are kind of glued into their position right now. I mean, with the inconsistencies of the bench recently, so we could see a little shift there for Bones maybe. And the final team, of course, is LA, the Lakers, the Clippers, both teams. They're basically in every single trade talk right now. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up on one of those teams. But it makes most sense that he goes to OKC where all the other younger talent is and stuff like that. So I'm gonna say if Bones gets moved, he'll end up in OKC. And that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe if not already. All my links are in the description down below. And I'll be seeing you guys probably next with a post-deadline video, depending when this comes out. This, I believe, should come out on the 5th of February. So, the deadline's on the 9th, so we'll probably have a little recap after the 9th. And yeah, I'll see you guys then. Peace.